The second way of creating a hard disk image is to go in and actually set your CD-ROM to actually say, okay, in this simulation, in this SimNow simulation, run it from your connect up the CD-ROM to the actual simulation run. And in Windows, you do that by just putting in //d, which brings you up to or setting the path so that it gets to the dev/CD-ROM is in Linux, right? Isn't that the path you use? And then you can read right off from the drive into SimNow. So you can start with a blank hard drive and then create a instant install SimNow or install Windows or whatever software you want to into that hard drive, and then save it as a hard drive. Save it as a BSD. Let me slide across. Okay, go ahead. It's slower, but it's guaranteed to work. So there's a couple of methods to getting software from the host, back and forth between the host and the guest. One of them is to use a jump drive, and you configure the jump drive just like I said by coming into the jump drive here and making sure that you have a jump drive on your BSD, dragging and dropping and putting a jump drive on your BSD. And then once you have the jump drive on your BSD, you can go into the control window here, and there's a bunch of jump drive commands that you can use, and they're in you can find those in the user's manual that we have in SimNow on how to use that. And then you could also use xtools. Some of my engineers have used xtools to get back and forth in the Linux environment, and then there's other commercial tools that you can use to get back and forth between the two. Next slide. The typical use of the jump drive is to import files back and forth from external something into the SimNow environment. And you can get, like I said, the actual commands from the SimNow user's manual. Continue. The jump drive device, I already said that you have to drag that into the platform that you want to use. Continue. And go ahead. So initialize 64, keep going. Those are the kinds of drive, that's kind of instructions that you put in there. So you can move files back and forth. That's just kind of a logging of moving files back and forth between the jump drive and the actual simulation run. Go ahead. So if we go back to, that's the user side. Okay, continue. Sure, that's as interesting. So then you can disconnect the jump drive if you don't want it anymore. I don't have this one in here. Keep going. So the other way that you can get data in and out, you share data back and forth is through the CD-ROM. And this kind of shows you how to create and move through the CD-ROM section and connect it to SimNow and get it to read. Go ahead. It's going to go through. So there's some, and then the xtools is also a way of getting things in and out. There's a few ideas on how to use it, capabilities to do it, xput, xget, etc. in Linux. Continue. And that gives you a little bit of ideas on how to do it. Keep going. Again. So you can see, I think that what Juan was giving us there was a way to actually share files back and forth between using the X tool another way to get data back and forth. Go ahead. Commercial images. These give you some ideas on how to get into the a couple more tools that are out there. One is the Linux Loopback FS, and the other one is WinImage. Go ahead. And there's really, for debugging the guest, there's a couple of ways you can do that. If you go in, and let's see if I've got some go ahead to the next slide. Basically, there's a debugger in Sim now, which allows you to turn it on. You go in here and view, just like you can view the devices, you can view debugger, you can view the registers. If we view debugger, this gives you the ability to, as you can see, it's halted. But if you say go and then stop, Sim now will update the processor, and here's what the memories look like. So you can go in and you can single step if you want to. You can put in commands here and execute from here. You can change memory from here, if I'm not mistaken. I don't debug in Sim now very much. And you can alter the other registers, the MSRs that are up here. You can see what instruction you actually, the last instructions you executed in the application. So it gives you some visibility in. It's not the most extensive debugger in the world, but it gives you some idea of what's going on inside Sim now. Go ahead. Next slide. And to use the debugger, you gotta have the debugger somewhere on your. It's a component. The way Sim now works is all of these things are devices, and the framework just collects all the different devices, and you connect these devices together. So if you debugger is just another device that if you don't put it on the BSD or the platform, you won't have it available to use. Okay. Next slide. Go ahead, next slide. Yeah, I just went through this. Go ahead. That's what I get for doing it. Go ahead. All right, so the serial port interface. SimNow's serial port interface can be used